Okay. Okay, all right, I'm trying this thing out. We're gonna see if I can get it. How's everybody doing? Say hi to me in the chat. Introduce yourself as this is your first time here. Just kind of let me know where you're at in your storage journey, where you're located. Have you own a facility? Do you not own a facility? I would love to hear you out. Just let me know, tell me yes, you can see the whiteboard as well too, because like I'm trying to figure this vibe thing out. So we're sharing the vibe screen on Zoom. It's like a whole new thing for me now. So okay, good. So welcome. I'm Stacy Rossetti. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over stage one in the investing process, right, for self-storage. Last Monday, we went over like stages 2, 3, and 4, which is like as soon as you get a storage facility under contract, then what do, right? And kind of went through those stages, but I wanted to do stage 1 this time. So just a quick reminder that the Monday night, when I teach on Monday night, every Monday night is a completely different topic. And the way we set our schedule up is that on the first Monday of every week, we do kind of like self-storage 101, right? This is like just kind of an overview of how the self-storage market works. All right. And then on top of that, we do find them, fund them, run them. So the second Monday we'll do find them. The next Monday we'll do fund them, and the next Monday after that we'll do run them. Okay, and then if there happens to be like a 5th week in the month, then we'll probably have some sort of bonus session. Maybe we'll have a student come on and talk about one of the deals that they did. So this webinar is called how to invest in self-storage over the course of the next 90 days. And that is what I'm going to do is over the course of the next 90 days, I'm going to walk you through on a weekly basis, some of the things that you can do to get started, right? So this is by all means not a webinar where you can learn everything about self-storage investing in like 45 minutes, because there's just no way to do that. In fact, I've been investing in self-storage now 6 years. I've been doing real estate investing for a long time, but it's self-storage. I've been doing 6 years. We have 13 storage facilities. We have 3 under contract right now that we are closing on within the next 90 days. And, and I'm still learning stuff. I started out when you guys are all newbies. I had no idea what I was doing. And now I'm syndicating and I have a fund and stuff, right? So, you just got to remember that storage investing is just like, slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Slow and steady wins the race. And so this is not, anything where you can buy, a lot of storage facilities in the next year. Your goal should be like, I'm going to find a facility and buy that facility within the next year and get it up and running, right? That's a great goal. Okay, that's a great goal. And you don't want to stress yourself out. I had like one student that bought 3 facilities in the past year. And I talked to him like a couple weeks in January, I had a coaching call. I was like, how are you doing? He's like, I'm finally feeling like I'm not stressed out. He's like, but last year I was like so stressed out because I was like always like buying and like onboarding properties and stuff. And I told him, I told you should just do 1 facility, and he was just like, no, I'm going to do 3. He's like, I'm going to do 5, so some people are just like that, but like, you also have to remember that, when you're building wealth, it's all about just, taking time, making good decisions, right? You take risks, but you take like educated risks, right? So again, I appreciate you guys coming and listening. I teach every week. I've been teaching every week for the last couple of years. And I also coach. All right. I have a coaching program called Storage Nerds. So you can check out Storage Nerds. If you want to be a storage nerd, you should check out Storage Nerds. And and then I also have a course, right? So if you're the type of person like, let me just DIY this, I want to just figure it out myself, then you could just do the course, right? And so that's available. Everything is available on my website at stacyrossetti.com. And so let's get started today on stage 1. I'm going to take you through like stage one. The goal of stage one, there's 4 stages. All right. And I've done this several times now. And actually we just had a 2-day boot camp with all my students and we went over this. And so that kind of gave me the idea of like, let me just go over this one more time. Right. There's get this here. There's 4 stages. Can y'all see this? Say yes, please. And then Kyle's in Chattanooga, I see, and got some Birmingham, Richard's in Birmingham. So we got a lot of, that's a couple Southeastern there. So yeah, make sure you say hi and introduce yourselves to me in the chat too while I go through this. The 4 stages of self-storage investing. This is kind of fat. Isn't this one kind of fat? Maybe I'm on the biggest one or something. I don't know, it's kind of so small. Or maybe I'm kind of like zoomed in. I don't know. Okay, so all right, so 4 stages of investing in self-storage. Okay, so you're gonna like when you have your paper, you're gonna take notes, right? And you kind of just draw a little diagram like this, okay? And that's kind of how it looks. And then so this one right here, right? So you can draw a diagram. One is your goal. This is finding them and deal analysis. And every single one of these steps has a goal. All right. And your goal for stage 1 is to get it under contract. Right? How is Stacy buying all these things? How does she get all these things under contract? So this is what we're going to talk about today. Okay. But I do want to just give you I just want to tell you what 2, 3, and 4 is so you can fill out your diagram. Right. And I'm a very visual person. So this is why I have a whiteboard, and this is why I'm writing on a whiteboard. So I'm not I can't sit there and do presentations and stuff. I'm a teacher. I got to teach. This is you guys are in my classroom. All right, my students in my classroom. Okay, that's why I paid. That's why I paid a ridiculous amount of money for this whiteboard. All right. So stage 2 is going to be funding them. I'm also really not feeling very well because it's this past month, man, it was stressful. I had a lot of stress going on this month. So I got sick. My daughter got sick, and then I got to think I'm getting a little sick, So just excuse that. All right. Finding them and onboarding. Funding them and onboarding them. That's funding them and onboarding them, right? So your goal in stage 1 is to get it under contract. And then in stage 2, it's okay, now I got to find the money, right? How am I going to buy this thing, right? How am I going to onboard this thing, all right? And the goal is to close the deal, right? This is your goal. Okay. And then onboarding for us, onboarding is the period between which you get it under contract and you close on it. So you don't just twiddle your thumbs for 90 days, you get it ready so that when you close on your facility, you can take payments, right? So this is where you're taking payments, right? Okay, so when you buy a storage facility, and I was talking about this in the boot camp this past weekend, but the good thing about storage is that you're buying real estate, so you're buying an investment, right? You get to deduct this. This is a deduction, right? But the truth is that it's really a business. It's an investment that's a business, right? And so the goal of the business obviously is to make money, right? So you as a storage facility owner, you want to be able to take payments, right? And so what happened to me on my very first deal? So when I started storage investing, there's nobody out there coaching. There's one person. I did a boot camp, but it wasn't very thorough or anything like that. It was just kind of super high level. And so I had to figure everything out. And closed on my facility, and I had come from like a rehabbing, I rehabbed like 100 homes, like from 2011 to 2016. And so like, you just closed on the deal, and that's when you like got started, right? Because it was kind of hard to do anything else, get some contractors out there, but that was it. But like in the commercial world, like my very first deal, like I closed, like essentially I got it under contract, and then I was like, okay, now I got to close on this facility. And I already had the money, right? Because I was privately funded. So I didn't really have to search for money. But so I kind of sort of like look for like software. And then like we closed on the facility, and then everybody was like calling, and they were just like, what do I do? How do I take payments? What do I do? And it was like for the first 3 or 4 months of me buying the facility, it was utter chaos because I had not onboarded my facility. I had not done all the steps that needed to get done in order for me to be able to, get my people into a software and get them, the contract signed and for them to take payments. Right. So it was like this whole, I was like one of those people that was like manually taking contracts. And then once we got the software up, I had to go and like, get them to do the contract again. And they were all pissed off about that. How many contracts we have to do? So essentially this onboarding phase is like eliminating that whole process. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna get some water just real quick. Throat's getting a little scratchy. So, okay, good, that's better. Okay. So that's stage 2. The goal is to close the facility. All right, stage 3. This is where it's called, I call it transfer ownership, is what I call it. And right, and this is where you're getting your tenants into your software. Your software is set up, and you're getting your tenants into your software. So the goal is your contracts are signed electronically. Let me put that in there. The goal is your contracts are signed electronically, right? Okay, transfer ownership. And then stage 4 is, so now you're like, now you got your contract signed, you get your software set up and stuff. And then stage 4 is like automation and systematizing. Okay. And so the goal for this stage is online marketing for tenants. Okay, online marketing for tenants. Okay, so those are the 4 stages. Okay, now we are going to go over today, because I was going to say too, because on stage 4, like, you're starting to breathe a little bit, and you're like, okay, let me get in there and really utilize this software. Oh, and by the way, I need tenants. How do I get tenants? Like, so you can't just like stick a sign in the ground, anymore, right? Because like if you go online to Google Maps, I mean, how do people find storage? They just go storage near me. So all the ways for you to be able to be on top of that, that's what that is. Okay. So let's do stage 1. Stage 1. All right. So let me pull up my my step-by-step process here that we made during the coaching program as well too. So I think I can minimize this. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Oh, crappers. Okay, don't do that. Okay. Yeah, just leave it. It's fine. At least I can see y'all. Okay. So I just screwed up. Sorry, y'all. Okay, here it goes. All right. Okay, so step 1, all right, for stage 1 is like, these are all you newbies out there. You're like, how do I do it? How do I get started? Now, when I teach too, I really honestly teach that you should go directly to the owners. If you're following me, you know that you should really go directly to owners, because that's the best way to find the best deals. But, the truth is that there's a lot of storage facilities for sale out there right now. So, if you're the type of person that's okay with running numbers on a property, like, so I just got sent an email on Friday for a property for $3 million, he wants $3 million, and he's making $180,000 a year. And I know I'm about to sell one of my properties that's making $160,000 a year. And I'm probably going to sell it, maybe around like maybe 1.8 to 2.2, depending on what cap rate, we come up with for it and stuff. And his facility is like almost exactly compared to mine. And he wants $3 million. All right. Now that's a realtor listing that property. All right. So you got to keep in mind, like if you're going online or you're talking to brokers, a lot of times those properties are like super, like too high, like super high compared to what an owner would give. Like, so I'm the owner and I know that I'll probably get around $2 million for this thing. And he's pushing like $3 million because the realtor is telling him like, let's just shoot for 3 million and see what happens, right? Kind of a thing. And not all realtors are bad or anything like that. I'm just saying that this is kind of how the world works, right? So, yeah, so in stage one, your first step is going to be building a list of facilities to buy. Okay, so I have like 10 virtual assistants, and what they do is they call owners, they do cold calling is what they do. This is just one of the many ways that you could do it, right? But the rule is for us internally that they cannot start cold calling until they have a list of 300 facilities, to call that are like, in the parameters that we're looking for. Okay, so in certain areas and stuff. So, you want to build a list of facilities to buy. All right. And so what that means is that you need to figure out what market, right, you want to be in, whether it's primary, secondary, or tertiary, right? When you figure out which market that you want to be in, and then you get to figure out what the cap rate is going to be as well, right? And you also figure out what market that you want to be in by just determining how much money do you have. How much money do you have? So for instance, you're not going to buy in a primary market if you don't have like $3 million plus. Okay. Right. Because in like primary markets is like super expensive. Typically secondary markets are like $1 to $3 million, and tertiary markets are like less than $1 million. All right. So you need to like figure out how much money do you have to purchase a facility. And then from there, you're like, okay, so now I only can come up with $100,000. So that means I can only buy $500,000 typically because you put 20% down. Like, where can I find a $500,000 facility? All right. And then you start going out into the markets and looking like for, into the areas and start looking and building your list. So it's like reverse engineering, right? You want to really try to figure out how much you can afford. Now, what that means is that are you going to be coming up with money yourself to buy the facility? Are you going to bring other people in to help you buy the facility? Are you going to raise the money? All different kinds of things that you can do in funding. But that's the question of the day. How much money can you come up with? And so then that's when that's when you determine what market that you're going to be in. And then the markets are going to be, right, either country in the middle of nowhere, right? If you don't have a lot of money. And the thing is commercial real estate is expensive. So like if you're in the middle of, even if you're in the middle of nowhere, you could still find a property that's $1 million. Right. So, it's just, it's expensive. So we got to learn these markets, primary, secondary, and tertiary markets. Now, I've talked a lot about this, like over the course of the last couple of years, all right? So primary, secondary, and tertiary markets is where you want to be. Should choose which one you want to be, choose how much money you have, so that you can determine where you should be looking, and then you start building your list of facilities. Right, so you're going to be looking for you either on Google Maps or driving for storage or going on Crexi, LoopNet, MLS. I mean, all the different ways that you can find facilities. You're going to build this list. All right, and I tell my virtual assistants 300 is the minimum, because essentially, like when you call and talk to owners, I mean, all of them are going to say no except for one. For every 50 owners that you talk to, one is going to say, yes, I want an offer. One. All right. So, so like if you in a day you call 20 people and they all say no, right? You don't want to give up. It just takes time, So so then you want to you want to have a huge list that you can just like call and then just recall and call and follow up, right? So this building of this list, however you build this list, all right, is what the first step is. Coming up with a list that you can farm, all right, of either, facilities on Crexi or, facilities from Google Maps or whatever you want to do, okay? And then the second step is talking to owners. Okay, now here, notice that I say, not calling owners, right? Not emailing owners or whatever, but like actually talking to owners. All right. So, so that means that because when you build this list, you might be able to get a hold of their, skip trace and get a hold of their phone number. You have their address, you can mail them, you can call them. Right. But remember what I said, for every 50 owners that you actually talk to, one of them is going to want an offer. Okay. Now, if you're going to go on Crexi and talk to the realtor, right, obviously they're going to give you all that information, but you running the deal analysis and actually you coming up with the right price, it's still going to be still a numbers game, All right. So you want to just make sure that you're working in the numbers game. So that means you're building the list and you're talking to the owners. And you want to, and however much time you can spend on doing this, you can spend on doing it. Right. But talking to the owners is the best, not managers. Because when you talk to a manager, they're not going to give you any information. They just going to know the owner doesn't want to sell, right? And, so you want to make sure that you're actually talking to the owners. And you can do that by skip tracing to get their information. Skip tracing is a way that you just Google skip tracing and it'll show you what it is. But it's a way to get people's personal information. All right. And then you just call the owner directly and talk to them. Okay. So this is building a list is easy because you're just finding storage facilities to put it on your list. Oh, another thing about this right here is that you want to have a very good CRM, right? You want to have follow-up, because you're going to have a list of a couple hundred storage facilities. After a while, it's not that difficult to put a list of like 30, 40, facilities together. And so, but the hard part about building the list is keeping track of it and having a good follow-up system. Right? Because everything in this industry is all about timing. It's all about timing. So you need to be on top of when you call them, when you leave a voicemail, when you text them, when you email them, when you send them a letter, whatever the communication styles that you're doing are, you need to keep track of that. And then every month you need to be calling these people. Every month, because the truth is this whole scenario right here is nothing but timing. And those that are good with follow-up, those are the ones that are really going to succeed in this industry. Okay, so one and done is not, you can't do that. You can, like on the residential side, you could do that because there's like millions and millions and millions and millions of homes. But in all of your states, there's probably, 1,000 storage facilities that you can call or less. In most states outside of Texas and California, maybe 1,000 storage facilities that you can call and see if they want to sell. So like you can't do one and done and be like, oh, I called them, or oh, they never answered the phone. And the truth is, I'm gonna tell you, storage facility owners never answer the phone. They just don't. All right, so that means that you're gonna have to keep track of that and then call back again, keep track and call back again. Okay, so being persistent, right? Being persistent. Okay. And then we have, okay, so now you've talked to the owners. When you talk to the owners, right, you're going to ask them if they want an offer. You're not going to ask them if they want to sell their property. Because if you ask them if they want to sell their property, they're going to say no. But do they want an offer? Do they want financial analysis, an analysis on their property, or an offer? And they're going to say, a lot of times they're going to say yes. We're giving out offers left and right on properties. Okay. So you want to make sure that you're asking the owner for the offer. Okay. So now let's say you call, so you build your list, you start calling, you're talking to owners, and then you finally an owner says like, yeah, you know what, I haven't really thought about it, but I'll take an offer. I'd like to see kind of what you're thinking about what my property's worth. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Somebody actually wants an offer. Right. Okay. So now number 3 is you're going to get all the information that you need from them so that you can run the DIL analysis. Get info from owner to run DIL analysis. Okay. You're going to get all the info that you need in order to run the DIL analysis. Okay. So let me show you what you need. Let me just pull this up. Hopefully I can figure this out. Let me see. Hang on. You guys can see or no? Or maybe you have to switch. Oh, you don't have to share screen. So hang on just 1 second. I'm going to figure this out. I promise. Where's Coach Accountable at? I'm missing it. Why is it not here? Oh, here it is. Coach Accountable. Okay, let me get this set up real fast. I'm going to pull up my DIL analyzer and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm just going to download it right from the coaching site because that's the most recent one. I want to make sure I have it. Show in folder and then open up the DIL analyzer. Okay, good. Now let me share my screen. Let me figure out how to do that. And here it is. Let me see, share screen, and then go to DIL analyzer, share. Okay, y'all can see that now, right? No. Hang on. There it goes. Okay, now you can see the DIL analyzer. Okay, good. See, I'm getting the hang of it. I'm getting the hang of it. All right, so okay, so this is our DIL analyzer. You can buy this DIL analyzer on our website if you want to do it. You don't have to buy it if you want. You can do your own DIL analysis. But so I want to just give you what you need from the owners so you can run DIL analysis. The first thing is you need to get the annual income right here, the annual income. Okay. And it doesn't matter, whatever their annual income is. All right. The second thing is you need to get the number of units and you need to get the total square footage. And you also need to get the vacancy square footage. Okay. And then you really need to have property taxes, utilities, and insurance. But if you can't get those, you can always, estimate. And then you can always look up property taxes. It's public record and stuff like this. Okay. And, and then expenses, right? So our expenses on our deal analyzer are all just formulas. We run our numbers between 32 and 38% based on the purchase price, right? It's kind of how we do it on our deal analyzer. But you want to have expenses, property maintenance, staffing, software and merchant fees, marketing, and then your mortgage payment, right? You got to know if you have a mortgage. Now your mortgage comes after your, income and your expenses, right? But you want to make sure you have that. So property taxes and all this. Okay, so this is like, we call this the info tab on our deal analyzer. But also what you're going to need is you're going to need to fill out the unit mix. So you need to know the unit mix, all your units and the sizes and the prices. All right, you got to calculate those all up. So you want to see like, here's 84 units at 8,100 square feet, right? And total is $3,900, and it's at 48 cents a square foot. Right, so you see how you're calculating the average price per square foot based off of the unit mix, and you're also calculating your total square footage based off of the unit mix. So you have to get the unit mix because that's going to give you the real number on how big your storage facility is, and everything in storage is all based off of price per square foot. Okay. And finally, you're going to get the competition. And this is the most important part because this is going to show you how much money you're going to be able to value add that property. Okay, so you're going to fill out all your competition. You want to know the name and the phone number, the website. Are they full? Are they not? The address. Did they claim their business on Google? How many miles away are they? Are they gated? Office? Do they have an office? And what's their total square footage? So you're doing like a deep dive into your competitors, right? And then here, you can see that, you need to know the prices. Like you compare your storage facility and the competitors apples to apples. All right, so if you have 5x10s, you want to know what other competitors 5x10s, non-climate control or climate control, are doing, or 10x10s or 20x10s, whatever it is. Okay, so you want to do apples to apples, depending on what type of unit it is. Is it drive up? Is it indoor, climate, non-climate? All kinds of there's all kinds of different types out there, right? And you're going to get, for your competitive analysis, you're going to get the average price per unit and the average price per square foot. And that's what you want to know for your facility, right? What is the price? What is the average price per square foot? Okay. And you're going to take that. So really filling out the info tabs, getting the basic information, getting your unit mix, and getting all the competitors are like the most important part of the deal analysis. Okay. And then remember I told you that you're going to need to know what your financing is, right? Because knowing what the terms are going to be of whatever loan that you're going to get is imperative to you running the deal analysis, right? So that's why when you see commercial property for sale, they're only giving you the numbers up to the NOI because your mortgage comes after the NOI. The mortgage comes after the NOI. Okay. So you want to make sure that you know what types of funding are out there. Is it going to be commercial? Is it going to be conventional? Is it going to be SBA? Are you going to have interest only payments? Are you going to partner? How much money can you put down? How are you going to buy this thing? And so you're going to want to know that, especially for the bank. We have the bank financing here, we run the numbers. And then we also run our numbers based on owner financing. And we always give owner financing options and some sort of a creative deal structure option to our owners. So you can see for us, we're doing cash offers, owner financing, and bank financing offers. That's how we do it. Now for us, what we do is in our deal analyzer, our offer letter is automatically created. It's automatically created. And so you could just print it out based on the terms that you put in your financing inputs. You can automatically have an offer letter created and send that out. All right, but essentially, this is going to be your offer letter. Remember, you're having a cash offer and then a couple owner financing offers, right? Something like this is what you're doing. So you always want to give more than one offer, right? You want to stand out. You want to really stand out because owners are just getting calls left and right and things like this, right? So you want to make sure that you're standing out. And and when you ask an owner if they want an offer, they're going to expect you to give some random like lowball offer, right? And the truth is like when you send over a letter that has like 3 or 4 different offers on it, they're just like, whoa, wow, I wasn't even like thinking that I was going to some lowball offer. But we like to give fair offers, and we like to, let the owners know how we do that. So that's why we even in the negotiation phase, we even have what we call the share sheet. And the share sheet is what we can give to the owners to show them how we're analyzing the deal based on the information that they gave us. Like you gave us this information and this is how we analyzed our deal. So we're not trying to lowball you. We're trying to give you a fair offer and this is how we came up with it. Right. So that's why we have the share sheet. Okay. This is kind of just give an overview of the deal analyzer, but really the point of me showing you this was to show you, to help you with the next steps. So let me stop share on that. Let me go back here and let me reshare this. Let me see, share screen and go to the bio canvas. Okay. Okay. How's that look? Looking good? Okay, perfect. Good. Okay. So now we get the info from the owner. All right. So you're filling out the info tab, right? So I call it the basic info. You need to be able to get the unit mix tab filled out. You need to get the competitive, the competition tab filled out. And you need to have your financing inputs. Okay, this is how you really run the deal analysis. This is how you're running your deal analysis. So you need to get this information from the owner. Okay. And then once you get the information from the owner, right, now you're making the offer. Okay, you're making your offer. Okay, so you saw we call it the magic letter inside our deal analyzer. We also have the share sheet inside the deal analyzer. This is how we make our offers. You want to make sure that when you have the magic letter, you're doing 3 to 4 different offers. Oh yeah, and I didn't show that on the magic letter, but your magic letter should be showing how much money the owner makes. Okay, how much money is the owner going to make? Okay, that's what your letter should say, your offer letter. So you don't say, oh, I'm just going to buy this thing for $1 million. All right, it's like, they're just going to be like, no. All right, so you're trying to entice them. So making an offer is like super important. Making the correct offer, not just numbers. The numbers is just like one thing. It's the how you present the offer. That's the most important thing. How do you present the offer? Okay. And you want to stand out. You want to be personable. You want to be like, they want you, they're going to sell you. They're not going to sell some stranger their property unless they know, like, and trust you. So how can you present that offer, have this offer so that they know, like, and trust you? Okay. And then number 5 is going to be negotiations. Okay, negotiations. All right, and this is like, you're going to present your offer, And then they're gonna be like, no, I don't want to do this offer. You're like, and then you're gonna come back and be like, oh, okay, all right, no, then I'll just move on to the next deal. No. You're gonna be like, okay, so like, can you counter offer? What is the price that you have in mind? Like, what are you thinking? So I have an idea, because like, I'm really just shooting from the hip. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you tell me what you think it's valued at, then I can really look at the deal and see how we can do that. In fact, I'm like very, very good at doing like creative deal structures. Like, if you really want like a double the amount of money of what I offer, then would you be open to doing some creative deal structure with me? Because the truth is like right now banks suck, and like interest rates are horrible, and like it's really hard to put an offer in for something that it may be valued at this price, but a bank is only going to pay for this much because the interest rates are so high, and like they want such a high DSR, and they're just being ultra conservative right now. So I mean, yeah, I would love to offer you like way more money, but the truth is like the market doesn't call for that right now. And so like, can you work with me? How can we work together to get this deal done? Because I would love to buy this property. I can pay this much money. Can you do a second? Would you be interested in partnering with me on the deal? How about you sell me the deal, we partner on the back end, or something, can we do some creative deal structure to get this thing done? Right? Let's say you're like negotiating with the owner and coming up with ways to work with the owner. And this is like super, like you don't just put an offer. This is why I never ever go through realtors, because you can't do this with a realtor. Most of the time, I say like most of the time. All right. Because I mean, I can do this with a realtor because I'm like, I do that. But like most people don't do that. They just put an offer in and it's like, whatever, highest and best, it's over. But the truth is that like, if you really talk to them and come up with a whole bunch of different ways and be creative and like deals get done, man, I'm telling you, I get so many deals done. Just because I like connect with the owner, talk to them, and I actually give them offers and give them ways to do things. And, like for instance, like we just bought a facility down in Florida, and, the owner, he wanted 600 grand. And, and I said, look, I got a guy that has 200,000 bucks right now. I was like, what can we do? Like, I need to spend his money. What can we do? And he was like, look, I was like, why don't we partner? Why don't we figure out how to do this together? And he was like, I was like, I'm going to bring this 200,000 in. He's going to be my partner on the front end. Would you be interested in just like financing the back end? Oh, you can finance 400 grand of it. And I'll bring 200 grand in from somebody else. And the guy was like, yeah, actually, I probably could do that. It's like, we just like sat and talked about it. These negotiations, they take like, they take a little while, because you're like, trying to get the feel for how people are and stuff. But we sat there and just talked about it, went back and forth. And then the end, he gave me like interest only payments for 2 years. Plus he like owner financed the deal for like 4% interest to me, and then also he threw in an acre of land. He was like, I got this land on the back end. He's like, I really don't need it. So like, I'll just give that to you as well. And so like, that's just us like negotiating together, like getting to know each other, making the offer, negotiating. And that's how it works, honestly. So you got to get really good at this, really good. Okay, this is important in any industry, for any property. You just have to be good at negotiations. Okay. Okay, good. And then finally, number 6 is you got to get it under contract, right? You got to get it under contract. Okay, so like what we're gonna, so this here is like, this is, you filling out a contract, or like if it's through a realtor, the realtor filling out the contract. But the contract and the negotiation process, like you do the negotiations and then you contract, like get it under contract at the same time, and sometimes we'll negotiate and then I'll send the contract over and the owner's like, okay, like let's change this. Because the contract, you do not want to have a contract that's like a crazy contract. You don't want to be like scaring the owner. Like I had one student, he like went and got like an attorney to write up the contract to buy a facility, and it was like 22 pages long, and the owner just backed out. And like my contract is like 3 pages long. I mean, it's just like I've done like I told all my students this weekend, I've done like $25 million of transactions with this contract, and it's like 3 million, it's like 3 pages long. That's it. So you don't want to make it so complicated, honestly. Now, obviously, if you're going through a realtor, you got to use like the realtor's contract and stuff. And they're so long, and you can't even assign that contract, which is like really annoying to me. Like if you wanted to assign it, you have to like, go through hoops and holes and stuff. So like, I just like using my contract. And, so really just kind of think about like, I mean, the thing is the storage owners, like they're just regular people, and they just, they don't want to be like BS'd around and stuff. So don't make the contract so crazy. It's like you're just buying a property. I mean, so what if they terminate? If they terminate, what are you going to do? You're going to take them to court and say like, oh, he told me he was going to buy this property? No, you can't do that. Nobody's going to do that. I mean, I had one guy back out the day before closing. It took us like maybe 6 months to close the deal. I worked so hard on that deal. And then like the day before closing, he closed the deal. What am I going to do? I'm going to be like, sorry, I'm taking you to court. You have to close, No, I'm not going to do that. Nobody does this unless you're crazy. Okay. So anyways, so these are the steps. And actually I kind of mushed this one together, but this is to get the information from the owner and then run the deal analysis, right? And, this just takes practice. We sat for like 2 days in my boot camp this past weekend. We just did like deal after deal after deal of like running the deal analyzer. And the first times that you get like into running the deal analyzer, running deal analysis on a property, it's a cumbersome and it's difficult, but this just takes practice, I'm to the point now where I could just like look at the property and tell how much it's going to be, a lot of times. Like if somebody just tells me the income, I can probably figure out what it's going to be worth, but that took me like 5 years to get to, so just know that this takes time. Actually, the truth is this whole stage takes time. This is all stage one. So stage one is building building a list of facilities that you can farm, right? And then talking to those owners. All right. And then after you talk to the owners, you're getting all the information from them so that you can run the deal analysis and look at it. You can, you need to really learn how to do this. And then you got to make the offer. And when you make the offer, you got to like make a strong offer. You don't want to be just like, making just a crappy offer. All right. And that's why we do 4 different offers. And we do, the share sheet and everything. And then you want to negotiate, and like you want to be able to negotiate. If they come back and say no, can you counter offer? And like let's work this out. Are you interested in doing some creative deal structures? So come up with some ideas on how to really entice them into negotiating with you. And then finally, you get it under contract, and you want to make it like as simple as possible. You don't want to make it so complicated because it just scares them off. Is really what it does. Okay. So that's the stage one. This stage one right here, this whole stage one takes typically anywhere from 90 to 120 days. Okay. If you're actually actively looking for deals, to go out there and to do all these steps takes several months. All right. It does not, it's not like easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, so you got to grind, you got to talk to owners, you got to get out there, you don't want to give up, you want to be persistent and know that it's a numbers game. But if you're actively doing that and you're actively executing, right, these steps, right, your goal is to execute these steps, then something will fall into place. Okay, because the truth is that like, life is all about momentum. And then when you're going and going and going, something happens. But if you're just like, let me try this week. Oh, let me a couple months later, let me try this next time. A couple days later. It's like, it just doesn't work, right? It's all about momentum and energy. Okay. All right. So that's my 2 cents on stage one, finding deals and getting them under contract. You can go to my website, which is stacyrossetti.com. to get the deal analyzer. The deal analyzer 4.0 is the deal analyzer that you just saw. All right. So that, that one you can pay for if you want to get that. And then also if you need a course to kind of walk you through the process. Look, check out my course. It's called Super Simple Self-Storage. And that'll just hold your hand and walk you through the process is what it will do. Okay. And all the videos and checklists and things that you need are all there as well. And that's really it for today, I think. So does anybody have any questions? Did I miss any questions while we're doing that? I'll do a couple questions before I pop off. And then right after this, I'm going to go on to at stacyrossetti.com/fund. And I always pitch my fund right after I teach. So if you're interested in just like passive investing, if you've got money and you need to place your money, then please hop onto my fund and listen to that. Okay. But you do have to be an accredited investor to invest in my fund. And then the contract is available to my students, right? It's available to my students, and it's also available in the course. So if you do want to get the contract, you can get it in the course. And skip tracing, what skip tracing tool do you use? We use Crexi is what we do. If you're interested in getting access to Crexi, email us. And we will introduce you to Grant. Grant is like our go-to person, and he'll give you the Stacy discount because it's more expensive if you don't go through my discount. Okay. And our email is questions@stacyrossetti.com. That's our email. So questions@stacyrossetti. We can introduce you to Grant at Crexi. Okay. And let's see what else. How far out from your primary location does it require to reach that kind of a list? Oh yeah. It depends, honestly. That's a good question. I mean, tertiary markets, obviously you're going to have to go further out, right? But it's honestly really not that far. You'll get to know that there's a lot of storage facilities out there. I mean, even though let's say there's 1,000 in your area, your state, it's really kind of like, 250 per, section or 300. I mean, that's a lot of storage facilities in like a little area. So really not that long. I mean, you can always just start out at like, say I'm going to start out at like 30 minutes to an hour. How many storage facilities can I find from my location until then? I said, I'm going to go out 2 hours, right? Maybe I'm going to go out 3 hours. We started out within like 30 minutes, and then we went like an hour, and we started going 2. Now we're just like wherever, Florida, Georgia is where we're at, we'll go wherever. Okay. Let's see what else. And then somebody's asking about online marketing for tenants. Yes. So online marketing for tenants means that everything for storage is online now. Like the way that you reserve your units, the way that you get your tenants. I mean, everything is all online now. If you're not online, then you're like ancient, really. And so you want to learn how to market online for tenants. So just think about it. Like if you were going to rent a unit, a storage unit, where would you go to find it? You go online, right? You'd be like storage near me. And then like whatever pops up is what you're going to be looking at, right? So you as the owner, you need to be one of those ones that pops up in your area. So that is what you have to learn how to do, right? So it's like SEO and like, getting out there, Google ads and all kinds of stuff like that. Okay. And, okay, finally. Okay, that's good. All right. So everybody good. So I appreciate you guys listening in, and I'm going to go ahead and hop off to my next session, get ready for that. And I will see you guys next Wednesday.